Chance didn't even look up from his coffee. "You think you deserve more money?" He laughed, the sound sharp and cold. I'd practiced this conversation for weeks, built my case with performance reviews and client feedback. But when I finished explaining my request, he stood up slowly and walked to my cubicle. "People like you should know your place," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. Then he did something I'll never forget. He leaned over my desk and spat directly onto my keyboard. The saliva landed with a wet splat, mixing with the coffee ring stains already there. My stomach turned, but my mind went crystal clear. I watched him walk away, whistling like nothing happened. Around me, the office buzzed with normal Tuesday morning energy, but everything felt different now. I opened a new email draft and typed 4 words in the subject line: "Immediate resignation, effective today." My hands didn't shake. For the first time in months, I felt completely calm. 30 minutes. That's all I needed to change everything. I pulled out my phone and started documenting everything while the spit was still drying on my desk. Screenshot of the timestamp. Photo of the mess he'd left behind. Then I opened my computer and began a different kind of inventory. 3 years of client files, project timelines, and process improvements that had my fingerprints all over them. Chance took credit for everything, but the digital trail told a different story. I copied every email thread where I'd solved problems he couldn't handle, every client testimonial that mentioned my work specifically, every late-night project delivery that saved his reputation. The company's biggest account, Schmidt Industries, existed because of a pitch I'd written after Chance bombed their initial meeting. I had the drafts to prove it. My desk drawer held something even better, though. Behind my emergency chocolate stash was a manila folder I'd started 6 months ago. I called it my insurance policy. Inside were printed emails, HR complaint forms I'd never submitted, and notes from conversations with coworkers who'd been treated just as badly. I wasn't the only one Chance had targeted. Time to let everyone know. The folder contained 18 months of carefully documented abuse. Screenshots of Chance calling my ideas garbage in team chats, then presenting them as his own the next day. Email threads where he'd thrown me under the bus with clients when projects ran late due to his poor planning. Written warnings he'd given me for attitude problems after I'd questioned his impossible deadlines. But the real gold was the witness statements. 3 coworkers had quietly confided in me about their own experiences with Chance. Kelly from accounting had endured his inappropriate comments about her appearance. Tom from IT had been screamed at so badly he'd considered quitting. Maria from customer service had been blamed for client complaints that weren't her fault. They'd all agreed to put their experiences in writing if I ever decided to take action. Today felt like the right day. I scanned each document and uploaded them to a secure cloud folder. Then I created a detailed timeline of events, complete with dates, witnesses, and supporting evidence. Chance had made one crucial mistake. He'd built his entire career on other people's work and silence. But silence has an expiration date, and his had just run out. My phone buzzed with a LinkedIn message from a recruiter I'd connected with months ago. Perfect timing. Vanessa from Premier Talent Group had been reaching out about senior positions, but I'd always been too scared to make a move. Not anymore. I called her number directly. "This is unexpected," she said when I identified myself. "Are you finally ready to hear about that director role at Falcon Solutions?" My heart raced. The position was everything I'd wanted but never thought I deserved. I might be available sooner than expected, I told her. "How soon?" she asked. I looked at the spit still glistening on my desk. "Today." There was a pause, then her voice got serious. "Something happened, didn't it?" I didn't go into details, just confirmed I was ready for a change. "The hiring manager is in town this week. Can you interview tomorrow?" I said yes before my brain could talk me out of it. "Send me your updated resume in the next hour," she said. "And whatever happened, I'm sorry. But sometimes the best opportunities come from the worst moments." I hung up and immediately started updating my LinkedIn profile. By tomorrow, I'd either have a new job or at least know I tried. I couldn't leave without protecting the relationships I'd built. Schmidt Industries deserved better than being blindsided by Chance's incompetence. I called their CEO, Ariana Schmidt, directly. We developed a good rapport over the past year, and I knew she valued straight talk. I wanted to give you a heads up, I said carefully. I'm leaving the company today, and I'm concerned about the continuity of your account. The silence stretched for a long moment. This is sudden, she said finally. Is everything all right? I chose my words carefully. There have been some management issues that I can no longer work under. I've prepared detailed transition notes for whoever takes over your account. Ariana's voice sharpened. Management issues? Chance assured us last month that you were the problem with project delays. My stomach dropped. He'd been bad-mouthing me to clients. I think there might be some miscommunication there, I said diplomatically. I have documentation of all project timelines if you'd like to review them. Send them over, she said immediately, and let me know where you land. If the service quality drops after you leave, we'll know who is really handling our account. That conversation gave me the confidence boost I needed for what came next. The HR department sat on the third floor, behind frosted glass doors that made everything look blurry and soft. Nothing about this conversation would be soft. I'd called ahead and scheduled an emergency meeting with Director of Human Resources, Monica Barnes. She was already waiting when I arrived, her expression serious. You mentioned a hostile work environment incident? She asked, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. I placed my printed folder on the table between us. At approximately 10:15 this morning, my supervisor Chance Morrison spat on my workspace after I requested a salary review. Monica's eyebrows shot up. He spat? Are you certain? I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos I'd taken, timestamps clearly visible, the evidence undeniable. This is just the most recent incident, I continued, opening the folder. I have 18 months of documented harassment, witnessed by multiple employees. I walked her through each piece of evidence methodically. Email threads, written complaints, witness statements. Monica took notes furiously, her expression growing darker with each revelation. Why didn't you report this sooner? She asked. I was afraid of retaliation, I admitted. But this morning crossed a line I can't uncross. Monica nodded grimly. We'll need to conduct a full investigation. Can you delay your resignation until we complete our review? I shook my head. I'm done, but I'll cooperate fully with any investigation. Monica walked me down to security, where Officer Rodriguez had been expecting us. We need to review hallway footage from this morning, Monica explained. Approximately 10:10 to 10:20 a.m., near the northwest cubicle area. Rodriguez pulled up the digital system and found the right camera angle. There it was, clear as day. Chance approaching my desk, leaning over, and making the unmistakable motion. Even without sound, his body language told the whole story. The sneer on his face, the deliberate way he aimed, the casual way he walked off afterward. This is assault, Rodriguez said quietly. You could press charges if you wanted. I hadn't thought about involving police, but the option was comforting. Can you save a copy of this footage? Monica asked. Already downloading it to our secure server, Rodriguez confirmed. We'll need to preserve the original as evidence. Monica turned to me. I want you to know that this behavior is completely unacceptable and doesn't represent our company values. I believed her, but it was too late for apologies. The damage was done. Still, knowing they had concrete evidence made me feel vindicated. Chance had finally gone too far, and this time there would be witnesses. We'll be in touch within 24 hours, Monica promised as we headed back upstairs. I nodded, but inside, I knew I'd never walk through these doors as an employee again. Back at my desk, I opened my laptop and began typing the most important email of my career. The resignation letter needed to be professional but clear about why I was leaving. Dear Monica and leadership team, I began. Effective immediately, I am resigning from my position due to a hostile work environment that culminated in physical harassment this morning. I have documented this incident and provided evidence to HR for their investigation. I kept it short and factual. No emotions, no accusations beyond what I could prove, just the facts. I will ensure all current projects have detailed transition notes by end of day. My personal email is below for any questions during the transition period. I copied Vanessa the recruiter, Monica from HR, and Chance's manager 3 levels up. Let them all know at the same time. As I hit send, A strange calm washed over me. 3 years of walking on eggshells, making excuses, and absorbing Chance's toxic behavior was finally over. My phone immediately started buzzing with replies, but I ignored them. Instead, I began organizing my desk drawers and gathering my personal items. A small succulent plant my mom had given me, my favorite coffee mug, a photo of my college graduation. Everything else belonged to the company, including the toxic atmosphere Chance had created. Time to go. Chance appeared at my cubicle entrance like a bad rash, blocking my path to the elevator. His face was red, and I could see the vein in his forehead that always popped out when he was angry. "What kind of game are you playing?" he hissed, waving his phone. "Monica just called me into a meeting." I continued packing my things, not making eye contact. "I'm not playing any games. I'm leaving." He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a threatening whisper. "You think you can destroy my career with your lies?" I finally looked up at him. "I think you already destroyed your own career. I just documented it." His hands clenched into fists. For a moment, I thought he might actually hit me. Around us, coworkers were starting to notice the commotion. Kelly from accounting stood up from her desk, her expression concerned. "The security footage doesn't lie, Chance," I said calmly, "and neither do the witnesses." His face went pale. He'd forgotten about the cameras. "You'll never work in this industry again," he threatened, but his voice lacked conviction now. "I'll make sure of it." I shouldered my bag and picked up my box of personal items. "I guess we'll see about that." As I walked past him toward the elevator, I heard him mutter something under his breath. But I didn't turn around. Some bridges are worth burning. In the elevator, I made one final transfer that would change everything. My personal portfolio lived in a secure cloud folder I'd maintained throughout my career. Every successful project, every glowing client review, every process improvement I'd developed, all of it was legitimately mine, created with my own ideas and expertise. I'd been careful never to include proprietary company information, just examples of my work and results. Now I cleaned it up and organized it properly. Case studies showing how I'd increased client satisfaction by 30%. Process workflows that had saved the company thousands of hours. Training materials I'd developed for new hires. Marketing campaigns that had brought in major accounts. Chance's name wasn't anywhere in these files because Chance hadn't contributed anything meaningful to them. I'd done the work while he took the credit. The elevator dinged as I reached the lobby, and I sent the portfolio to Vanessa with a note. Updated work samples for tomorrow's interview. Available immediately. My phone buzzed with her quick reply. "Impressive results. The hiring manager will love seeing these. Good luck with whatever transition you're making." I walked out the front doors into the crisp afternoon air, feeling lighter than I had in years. Behind me, the building hummed with the same toxic energy I'd endured for too long. Ahead of me was uncertainty, but it felt like freedom. Vanessa called before I even made it to my car. "I just reviewed your portfolio," she said, excitement clear in her voice. "Can you meet with the hiring manager this afternoon instead of tomorrow? She's flying out tonight." My heart jumped. "This afternoon? How soon?" 3 o'clock. Coffee shop downtown, very casual. She just wants to get a feel for your personality and confirm what I've already told her about your qualifications." I checked the time. 1:30 p.m. Plenty of time to go home, change clothes, and mentally prepare. "What should I know about her?" I asked. "Dr. Carmen Silva, VP of Client Relations at Falcon Solutions. Brilliant woman, very direct, hates corporate nonsense. She values results over politics." "Perfect. I was so tired of politics. I'll be there," I confirmed. "And thank you for moving so quickly on this." "Thank you for finally being ready," Vanessa replied. "I've been waiting to place you somewhere that deserves your talent." An hour later, I was sitting across from Dr. Silva in a cozy coffee shop, feeling more relaxed than I had in months. She was exactly as Vanessa described, direct, intelligent, and refreshingly honest about what the role would involve. "We need someone who can build client relationships from scratch," she explained. "Not manage existing ones, but create new partnerships with major accounts." I smiled. "That's exactly what I did at my last position. In fact, my biggest client is probably going to follow me wherever I land." The next morning brought a call from Monica requesting an immediate meeting. I drove back to the office building I'd thought I'd never see again, this time as a visitor instead of an employee. Monica had assembled a small team. Herself, Chance's manager Zane, and the legal counsel I'd never met before. Chance was notably absent. "We've completed our preliminary investigation," Monica began, her voice carefully neutral. "The evidence you provided, combined with the security footage, substantiates your claims." Zane leaned forward. "We're prepared to offer you a significant severance package if you're willing to sign a non-disclosure agreement." I almost laughed. "You want to pay me to stay quiet about Chance spitting on my desk?" The legal counsel shifted uncomfortably. "The company would prefer to handle this matter internally." "And what about the other employees who've experienced similar treatment?" I asked. "The ones who provided witness statements?" Monica and Zane exchanged glances. "We're addressing those situations separately," Monica said, "but we can't discuss personnel matters involving other employees." I understood what they weren't saying. Chance had a pattern of abuse, and they knew it. "I appreciate the offer," I said finally, "but I don't need your money or your silence clause. I just need to know that other people won't have to endure what I did." The room went quiet. Finally, Zane spoke. "Chance has been suspended pending a full investigation. If our findings support the evidence, he will be terminated." They brought out a laptop and played the security footage one more time, this time with the legal counsel taking notes. Watching it again, I was struck by how clear everything was. Chance's approach, the confrontation, and the moment he crossed the line. "This constitutes workplace harassment and assault," the legal counsel confirmed. "We're required to report it to the authorities if you choose to press charges." I hadn't decided about criminal charges yet, but knowing the option existed felt empowering. "What about the other employees who came forward?" I asked. "Will their complaints be investigated too?" Monica nodded. "We're conducting individual interviews with everyone mentioned in your documentation. This has opened our eyes to some serious cultural issues in Chance's department." Zane looked uncomfortable. "In hindsight, we should have acted sooner. There were warning signs we missed. Or ignored, I thought, but didn't say." "What happens to his current projects?" I asked. "We've reassigned them to other managers," Zane replied, "including the Schmidt account, which we understand you had significant involvement with." I smiled slightly. Ariana Schmidt might have some insights about that transition. The legal counsel closed her laptop. "We'll have our final findings within 48 hours. In the meantime, we want you to know that we're treating this with the seriousness it deserves." It was too late for me, but maybe it wasn't too late for my former coworkers. Walking through the office to collect some forgotten items from my desk felt surreal. Former coworkers approached me quietly, their expressions mixing sympathy with curiosity. "We heard what happened," Kelly whispered as she hugged me goodbye. "Good for you for finally standing up to him." Tom from IT shook my hand firmly. "That took guts. Chance has been a bully for years." Maria from customer service pulled me aside. "I heard about the investigation. Thank you for including what happened to me. I never thought anyone would believe me." Their support meant everything, but it also highlighted how broken the system had been. Chance had terrorized multiple people, and management had either ignored it or been oblivious to it. Either way, it was inexcusable. As I packed the last few items from my desk, I found a note someone had slipped into my drawer. "You're an inspiration. Some of us are thinking about following your lead." A friend. I looked around the office, wondering who had written it and how many others felt trapped the way I had. My phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. "Dr. Silva wants to make you an offer. Can you call me?" I gathered my things and headed for the elevator one last time. Behind me, I could hear whispers spreading through the cubicles. Change was coming, whether the company was ready for it or not. Ariana Schmidt's call came just as I was leaving the building. "I received your transition notes," she said without preamble. "They're the most detailed and helpful documents I've ever seen. It's clear you've been managing our account single-handedly." I felt a flush of pride. I wanted to make sure nothing fell through the cracks during the transition. "About that," Ariana continued, "I had a very interesting conversation with Chance this morning. He couldn't answer basic questions about our current projects, questions that you would have handled effortlessly. I stayed quiet, letting her draw her own conclusions. I'm curious, she said. Where are you landing next? Falcon Solutions, I replied. I'll be heading up their client relations division. Falcon? Carmen Silva's company? Ariana sounded impressed. She's got an excellent reputation in the industry. There was a pause, then. Would Falcon be interested in handling a major logistics account? Because I'm not confident in the transition happening at your former company. My heart started racing. Ariana was essentially offering to bring her business with her. I'd be honored to discuss it, I said carefully, though I'd want to make sure there are no conflict of interest issues. Leave that to our legal teams, Ariana said confidently. I work with people I trust, not companies, and right now, I trust you. After hanging up, I sat in my car for a full minute, letting the magnitude of what had just happened sink in. Not only did I have a new job, but I might be bringing a major client with me. That evening, I spread papers across my kitchen table and began mapping out my new future. Dr. Silva had made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Director of Client Relations with a 40% salary increase and performance bonuses tied to new accounts I brought in. If Ariana followed through on bringing Schmidt Industries to Falcon, my first-year bonus alone would be more than Chance made in base salary. But I wasn't doing this for revenge. I was doing it because I finally believed I deserved better. I called my mom to share the news. Honey, I'm so proud of you, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I could tell something was wrong at that place, but you never wanted to talk about it. I thought I had to just endure it, I admitted. I thought that's what work was supposed to be like. Work should challenge you, not destroy you, she said firmly. Your father and I always knew you were capable of amazing things. I'm glad you're finally seeing it too. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and started researching Falcon Solutions more thoroughly. Their culture, their values, their approach to employee development. Everything I read reinforced that this was the right move. For the first time in years, I was excited about Monday morning instead of dreading it. Chance had thought he was ending my career when he spat on my desk. Instead, he'd freed me to find something better. Over the weekend, my phone buzzed with messages from former coworkers. Word had spread about Chance's suspension, and people were finally feeling safe enough to speak up. Kelly texted, 3 more people filed complaints after your investigation started. The floodgates are open. Tom called with an update. Zane pulled me into a meeting today. They're restructuring the entire department. Chance is definitely not coming back. Maria sent a long email detailing her interview with HR. They asked about everything, not just Chance, but the whole toxic culture. I think real changes are coming. Most surprising was a message from someone I barely knew, a junior developer named Carlos. I heard you stood up to Chance and won. I've been documenting some issues too. Would you be willing to talk? I agreed to meet Carlos for coffee on Sunday. He was young, maybe 25, and reminded me of myself when I first started at the company. Eager, talented, but completely unprepared for workplace politics. Chance has been stealing my code and claiming credit, Carlos confided. I have proof, but I don't know what to do with it. I shared my experience and encouraged him to document everything thoroughly. Don't wait 3 years like I did, I advised. Stand up for yourself while you still believe you deserve better. As I drove home, I realized that my small act of rebellion was inspiring others to find their own voices. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show people that change is possible. Monday morning brought an unwelcome surprise. Chance had posted a lengthy rant on LinkedIn, carefully worded to avoid legal issues, but clearly targeting me. He painted himself as the victim of a vindictive employee who couldn't handle constructive feedback, and warned other employers about disloyal team members who fabricate stories when they don't get their way. My first instinct was rage. How dare he twist the narrative after what he'd done? But then I remembered the advice my mom used to give me. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Chance was showing the entire professional community exactly who he was. I screenshot his post for my records, then crafted a brief, professional response. I recently left my position due to documented workplace harassment that included physical assault. I'm grateful for colleagues who supported me and excited about my new role at Falcon Solutions, where I'll be working with amazing clients like Schmidt Industries. I didn't mention Chance by name or go into details. I let the facts speak for themselves. Within an hour, my post had dozens of supportive comments from former colleagues and industry contacts. Chance's post, meanwhile, was attracting increasingly critical responses as people began connecting the dots. His attempt to damage my reputation was backfiring spectacularly. Sometimes the best revenge is simply telling the truth and letting other people draw their own conclusions. Dr. Silva called me directly after seeing the LinkedIn drama. "I hope you know that social media nonsense doesn't concern us," she said. "In fact, the way you've handled this situation demonstrates exactly the kind of integrity we value at Falcon." Relief flooded through me. I was worried it might reflect poorly on the company. "Quite the opposite," she assured me. "Ariana Schmidt sent me a glowing reference about your work. She also mentioned that your former supervisor had been taking credit for your accomplishments. That tells me everything I need to know about who you really are." We spent the next hour discussing my start date, initial projects, and the potential partnership with Schmidt Industries. "I want you to know that we don't tolerate toxic behavior here," Dr. Silva said. "If anyone ever treats you the way you were treated at your last company, you come directly to me." After hanging up, I felt a profound sense of gratitude, not just for the new opportunity, but for the reminder that not all workplaces were like the one I'd left. Good managers existed. Healthy cultures were possible. I'd just been trapped in a dysfunctional situation for so long that I'd started to think it was normal. Chance's attempt to sabotage my new beginning had only reinforced how right I was to leave. Some people create toxic environments wherever they go. Others create opportunities for growth and success. I was finally working with the latter. The investigation results arrived via email while I was having lunch in Falcon's bright, welcoming cafeteria. Monica's message was brief but satisfying. "After a thorough investigation, we have determined that Chance Morrison violated multiple company policies regarding workplace harassment and assault. His employment has been terminated effective immediately. We sincerely apologize for the hostile environment you endured and appreciate your courage in coming forward." Zane sent a separate message. 3 additional employees have filed formal complaints based on your documentation. We're implementing new training programs and restructuring management to prevent similar issues in the future. Thank you for helping us identify serious cultural problems that needed to be addressed. The legal counsel followed up with information about my options for pursuing criminal charges, though she noted that Chance had agreed to attend anger management counseling as part of his termination agreement. I decided against pressing charges. Chance losing his job and reputation was consequence enough. My phone buzzed with messages from former colleagues celebrating the news. Kelly sent a champagne emoji. Tom wrote, "Justice served." Maria called me directly, crying with relief. "I can't believe he's actually gone," she sobbed. "I was so afraid nothing would happen, that he'd find a way to turn it around on us." "Bullies rely on people staying silent," I told her. The moment we spoke up together, his power was gone. Within a week, 3 major clients had followed me to Falcon Solutions. Ariana Schmidt led the charge, bringing her entire logistics account. 2 other companies I'd worked with closely also made the switch, citing confidence in the account management team as their primary reason. Dr. Silva was thrilled, but not entirely surprised. "Great talent attracts great clients," she observed during our team meeting. "When clients work with someone who genuinely cares about their success, they develop loyalty to that person, not just the company." The financial impact was staggering. My old company lost nearly $2 million in annual revenue within 10 days of Chance's termination. Meanwhile, Falcon was celebrating its biggest client acquisition quarter in company history. I felt a complex mix of emotions about my former employer's losses. I hadn't set out to damage them, just to protect myself and seek better opportunities. But I also recognized that their losses were self-inflicted. They'd chosen to keep a toxic manager who drove away both talent and revenue. Now, they were facing the consequences of that decision. Zane called to ask if I'd consider consulting on the transition of my former accounts. I politely declined. I think it's best for everyone if I focus on building something new rather than trying to fix something broken, I told him. He sighed heavily. I understand. We lost a lot more than accounts when you left. We lost credibility. The exodus from my former company accelerated after Chance's termination. Kelly accepted an offer at a nonprofit organization where she felt her values aligned better with the mission. Tom transitioned to a tech startup that offered remote work options. Maria found a position at a customer service firm that prioritized employee well-being. Most surprising was Carlos, the junior developer who'd reached out to me. He'd taken my advice about documenting everything and presented his evidence to Zane. The company offered him Chance's old position, that effectively promoting him 3 levels in one move. I never would have had the courage to speak up if you hadn't shown me it was possible. He told me during a coffee catch-up. You changed the whole culture there. I was proud of him for seizing the opportunity, but I also felt sad about the talented people who'd scattered to other companies. We could have been an amazing team under different leadership. During our conversation, Carlos shared some interesting information. The company hired an outside consultant to do a complete culture audit, he said. They're trying to rebuild their reputation, but word has gotten out about what happened. Other departments are questioning their own managers now. Change was spreading beyond Chance's former domain. Sometimes it takes a major disruption to expose problems that have been festering for years. My resignation had become a catalyst for transformation throughout the entire organization. 3 months after starting at Falcon, I received an unexpected call from a law firm representing my former company. They wanted to discuss a settlement agreement related to my employment experience. I immediately contacted my own lawyer, a sharp woman named Rebecca Chen, who specialized in workplace harassment cases. They're worried about a lawsuit, Rebecca explained after reviewing their offer. This settlement amount suggests they're very concerned about liability. The offer was substantial. 6 months of salary, extended health benefits, and a formal letter of apology for the unfortunate incident with Chance. In exchange, I would agree not to pursue further legal action. What do you think? I asked Rebecca. Honestly, you have a strong case if you want to pursue it further. Documented harassment, witness testimony, video evidence, and clear retaliation patterns. You could probably get much more than this. I considered it carefully. Part of me wanted to push for a larger settlement, to make them pay for the months of stress and humiliation I'd endured. But another part of me was ready to close this chapter completely. I'll accept it, I decided, but only if they make the same settlement offer to the other employees who were harassed. Rebecca raised an eyebrow. That's unusually generous of you. It's not generous, I replied. It's right. They all suffered under Chance's management. They all deserve compensation for that. A year later, I was sitting at a brand new desk in my corner office at Falcon, looking out at a view I'd never imagined I could afford. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is show someone that change is possible.